All right. Well, everyone, welcome to episode 1 of Duck Boys.
Yeah, this is episode 1 of the Duck Boys podcast. Welcome all to the pilot.
I'm Tristan.
And I'm Sam. And because this is the pilot, I've got my bomber on. I'm ready.
Sweet. And together, we're the Duck Boys.
We're the Duck Boys.
Sam, do you want to introduce the first little segment?
Yeah, we're going to try out a little show we've got together. So we're calling this one, This Is Why We Clink. We're going to celebrate good moments because, contrary to popular belief, there are good reasons to drink. So, Tristan, what are we drinking this evening?
I'm drinking a Corona Familiar.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Corona, but it's probably my favorite of the Corona brand.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
A Corona review. I mean, there are worse Coronas to be had, am I right? Funny, 'cause it's topical, right?
Topical because you had it.
Fuck you, man. We'll get to that later. Because right now, there's reasons to celebrate.
Right.
I, on the other hand, am going to be up in the game a little bit. I've got some Screwball peanut butter whiskey here. I'm not doing anything crazy, but
Able to taste? I know you just got your smell back. Have you been able to taste?
taste actually didn't leave as significantly as smell did. And I know they're intertwined, but smell is coming back very, very slowly. So like a big success for me the other day was I was in the shower and I actually smelled my body wash.
You're gonna say your body odor, and you're like, and I said, "Damn, that's."
No. Thank God I haven't gone that long without a shower. I don't have to see anybody, but I got to be clean for me, you know.
Got you.
And then yesterday I actually smelled my shampoo. It smells like green apples.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Arguably the worst of the apples, but whatever.
Hey, I like.
That's a personal problem, but
All right. What are you thinking to?
well, I guess we can first off clink to my smell slowly coming back and me now being out of the quarantine period, so I can see other people in public again.
All right.
Which is why I'm spending the evening at home.
Hell yeah. Oh, that's well needed. After a long shift at work, I needed that.
Oh.
But speaking of work, today I got my This Is Why We Clink at work. There's this lady. You were actually on the phone with me. She was the one that had the rainbow mask that I told you about. Right? She's an older, like, oh yeah, I'll go get you a card or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And so I went back inside because I had my break, and then I was bagging or whatever, and she needed help unloading things. So I helped her unload, and she's like, "Hey, you're the same guy that helped me from earlier." And I was like, "Yeah, I told you I'd come back around." And so she's like, "All right, can I get your help for unloading things?" Because she's elderly and she kind of had like a little hunchback and things like that. Like you could tell her she's just not physically not well.
All right.
Well, like, you start talking because, at this point we've seen each other 3 times in the span of the last like 3 hours. And so, she was asking me about my major and things like that. And for those who don't know, I'm a journalism major. And so I was kind of going into that, and she was asking some good questions. Like, what do you plan on doing with the degree? And like, do you want to go into print news or do you want to go to broadcast? And I told her, I was like, both my professors for both my broadcasting class and my paper class, or my print class, I should say, said that I'd be off, like I'd be well off doing both kind of thing. And she told me, she's like, it's very inspiring to hear the youth still want to tell stories and still have storytellers like yourself. And I don't know, that just touched me some different way, I guess, hearing it from a person from an older generation. And everything was great. And I was really enjoying myself. And, we were having a good conversation. I was helping her to her car. And she's like, and besides, we're going to need it after next year because Biden, am I right? And I was like, oh, no.
All right, here we go.
I was like, oh, here we go. But other than the political tirades. For those who don't know, I don't care about politics. I mean, I care enough because it has to do with people's lives. But personally, I don't care. I'm going to do what I need to do, and that's pretty much as much of the politics as I'm going to touch on until something crazy happens when we're going to have to address it, and we'll be like, other than that, I don't care. So y'all pop off if you want. That's as much as I'm going to go into it.
I'm not much for one on politics. If I've got to talk about it, I will. Hot take: fascism sucks.
And I take,
I guess I'll leave it there. I don't want to stir anybody up. Yeah. Cheers to your conversation with the lady.
Fuck yeah, fascism or whatever.
Yeah, fascism. 3 cheers to fascism, guys.
Zeke.
Really making a comeback. Let's see. Got my hair cut today. That's a small victory. We don't have to cheers over that one. But after being holed up at the house for a while, I was getting really shaggy. And like, I normally have a thing where every 2 weeks I've got to have my hair cut. I wasn't one of those people like whenever quarantine went in that was like, fuck the government, I need to go to Applebee's. But like at that point, I did what every other dude did, or like half the dudes. You either grew your hair out super long or you shaved it all off.
Yeah.
I shaved it all off because I just had a breakup, so I took the Britney approach. Everything gone. Grew my beard out like some sort of like mountain bound monk.
Yeah.
And then hair back out, beard trimmed. I restarted the whole process a couple times. It's been a year of personal growth for me. I think it's been a year of personal growth for a lot of people in a forced way, but is what it is.
What it is.
There's no hot takes there, I don't think.
I don't think so. But
I wanted to circle back real quick. I know we're going on highlights and whatnot, but you're specifically talking about that lady asking you about print media versus online. And do you really think they're going to have like the same audience presence?
So she asked about print and broadcast. So broadcast is like your reporters on the news kind of thing. So like she made the joke of like, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing you on the 10 o'clock news kind of thing for broadcast. While print, when people think of print, people normally think of newspaper. But I mean, I know you and I talk all the time about news that we read either on Reddit or just through our news sources or whatever. That's technically print. So that's where everything's going. I know I'm a huge comic geek. I know probably people that are watching or listening to this right now because they're going to probably know us. They know that, but just in case. The Daily Planet and the Daily Bugle, which is Spider-Man's, in their recent comics, they've been like they're like, yeah, no, the newspaper is dying. We're doing more print. And so we're doing more online stuff. And so that's basically what the new Superman and Spider-Man kind of do. They take pictures for their online newspaper.
Okay. Trendy, tech savvy dudes. I guess that's fitting with like the modern image of Spider-Man, but as far as like modern image of Superman, like switch out his standard glasses for like Silicon Valley rectangle looking motherfuckers.
Everybody just like hates him, but they don't know why. Like that's his superpower as Clark Kent. It's not the whole, oh, I'm dorky and stumbly. No, I hate you because you're probably rich.
Is Superman, is he well off? Does he have money?
That's kind of the running joke between him and Batman is that like he'll break something or like his like son or Superboy, which could also be his son, or like Supergirl will break something and he'll be like, I'll pay for it. And then Batman's like on a reporter's salary. So if I just end up being a reporter, I'm not going to be really living well off. It's just going to be me in an apartment.
Not in a financial sense anyways. If it's fulfilling, if you enjoy it, then that could be well off.
You still do not have something that we could cling to other than the fact that you're out of quarantine, unless that's what you want it to be.
That was my main clink.
Okay.
That at least for me, because I've hated being stuck only seeing these four walls for so long and being holed up with my family. God bless them. I'm so thankful for my family. They are wonderful, wonderful people. But if you're stuck too long in one space with anybody, you're gonna find out exactly why you would murder them if you were ever pushed to that point.
Oh yeah, you watch Investigation Discovery one time, you're like, I understand.
Well, my sister's been on a kick recently. This is not to rag on my sister, but she's been on a kick recently. Speaking of TV shows, um, Shark Tank all the time. Those dudes are assholes.
They are. They are.
Single one of them, asshole. That's not a reason to clink. Fucking Kevin, what's his face? Mr. Male Pattern Baldness. That dude sucks. He sucks a lot.
Martin Keegan is like almost cool.
Mark Cuban's bio on Twitter is just almost cool. He's a billionaire. He's so lame that he's a billionaire and he's still almost cool. God.
Well, I mean, when you own the Cowboys, you can't really be all the way cool.
Mavericks, bub.
Oh shit.
We're not talking about fucking Jerry.
Oh yeah. That's my inner Houstonian just getting every Dallas thing wrong.
Jerry Jones is the new Hugh Hefner, I think. Like, I'm amazed that he's still alive.
Oh, okay. In that aspect, I was like,
I'm not saying that Jerry Jones is a player.
Yeah,
not on his own team is he a player.
He owns a lot of players.
Right. He owns a lot of players. He himself not one. I feel like Jerry Jones' game is very weak. I feel like Jerry Jones has weak game.
Is Jerry Jones married?
I would assume if you're that rich, like, you'll be married. I feel like that's just a thing,
I mean, maybe, but at the same time, I don't know. It's Jerry Jones, American businessman. Yes, not Jerry Seinfeld.
Your laptop sounds like an earthquake again.
Sorry.
Over there, like, is Jerry Jones married?
Well, his net worth to $8.4 billion.
Yeah, he's married.
Yeah, he's married to Eugenia, right? Eugenia Jones. Married since
that's a first or second wife name.
What?
That's a first or second wife name. He hasn't been married a bunch of times if he's married to a Eugenia.
I think it's only one because he's been married since 1963.
Good for him, man.
Yeah, he's
70. I'm sorry for talking shit on your game. That's on me.
You know what? I'll take that one. I'll take that one.
I will take that L.
You know what?
No room to talk.
Is his first name is Gerald.
I wouldn't go about that either.
Gerald Wayne Jones. That's kind of cool.
If I was him, I almost would have gone by Wayne.
Wayne Jones. Yeah, but it's the whole JJ thing.
I get the alliteration, but I feel like it has its place.
So I kind of forgot. So I'll just explain to the audience what just happened. I have this really old dog. Her name's Coco. She is 16 years old and always on the verge of death. She barks like the Simpsons characters, like the twins, the old twins. I think they're what's her names? They're Marge's sisters.
Okay.
They smoke like 12 packs a day, kind of thing.
Oh, sweet.
They talk like this.
Yeah. They're like one of those
little breathing tube things.
Yeah, tracheotomy patient.
Yeah. That's how Coco barks. And so it gets really annoying. Probably you might have heard it. I don't know if I cut it out. Of course, I'm not editing this as we go. So I don't know if I've edited it out or not. But it's probably in there still. That's my dog, or one of my dogs. One of my parents' dogs, I should say. My dog is asleep right now next to me. But Coco is not. Coco is Coco's alive somehow. That's all I gotta say.
Coco's not my dog, but for the record, Coco is textbook definition and also like street definition. Oh, bitch.
Yeah. No. Anyways, Coco needed to go outside, and I needed to let her out, and so now we're back.
Coco's gone. Cheers to that.
Here's Coco.
Loving pet owners, I promise.
Oh, let me tell you about the drunk dude at HEB.
Oh yes, okay. Please lay it on me.
So I work at a grocery store here in Texas called HEB. It's a grocery store. Anyways, I was pushing carts outside, and it was already later in the evening. I don't know. Right now it's like daylight savings time, so I don't know what time it really was. It was just darker, and this dude literally stumbles out of the store. He has 2 grocery bags. I don't know what the fuck was in them, but he stumbles out, and I'm pushing carts, and I stop pushing carts, and he gives me an applause of I'm like, that looks fucking hard, dude. And I was like, yeah, no. And he's like, dude, fucking respect to you. This place wouldn't fucking run if they didn't have you. And I was like, yeah, I tried to tell him that, and they still wouldn't give me a raise. And he was like, bro, you fucking deserve it. My man was plastered. My man looked like he was yeehaw, but then was like, yeah, because that's how fucking drunk he was.
Oh my God, was that fucking third day? What was that? Yeah.
My man looked like he was Bush Light. And
personified. He's the fucking Bush Light version of Keith Stone.
Yeah, exactly. And he what the fuck happened? It happened so slowly but so fast. He goes and he starts wobbling down to the ground to put his groceries down. And he wobbled so bad, I had to put my hand on his shoulder so he wouldn't. I didn't want to touch his shoulder. His shoulder felt disgusting and ignorant. And so
I don't mean to interrupt you. You said this man wobbled to the ground. I just pictured
wobble baby, wobble baby, wobble baby.
I'm sorry, this is dumb, but it's
basically that. It was basically that. And he goes and he puts down his groceries and he does the cross step. Everybody knows the cross step. Where you're crossing your step. He does that.
That's the thing that happens before you slump.
Yeah, he does that, and I thought he was gonna fall, but he Michael Jackson his way up. He done a full spin, and I was like, whoa, okay. And when he comes out, he has a $5 bill. He's like, I'm gonna tip you, and I was like, oh, well, thank you. And he's like, you know what? Pulls out another $10. I got $10 in tips. I spent 5 of it. I still have one of the 5s. I spent $5 for my lunch today. But look, this crusty ass Abe Lincoln belonged to an extremely drunk man. I have a 20.
Never say alcohol is good for nothing.
And then we drink. Yeah, no, I conned by being kind, I guess.
All right.
Yeah, that was gonna be why we clink, and then the old lady story happened, and I was that's nicer than drunk. I don't know.
There's a certain admirability to our drunk fellow too.
And he told me he's like, now I'm gonna go drive a fucking 140 down the highway. I was like, don't do that. I told him straight up, don't do that.
Oh my God.
And he was like, I never get caught. And I was like,
yeah, that's not the problem.
Yeah.
That's not what I was concerned about when I said don't do that.
I was so concerned because he could not walk a straight line. He was drunk. He was drunk. And I'm pretty sure he had another 24 pack of Keystone. With him.
Okay.
Where he was going. That's what he bought.
All right. I mean, he had to stay hydrated. It's basically what
I didn't hear any sirens after, so I'm presuming that my man's okay.
Yeah, yeah. If he's going 140, you wouldn't hear the sirens because it'd be the next fucking county over. Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right. Jesus. Yeah, no, I haven't. While Tristan works at HEB, I work at a retail location um, that supplies many needs for those who might drive tractors.
Hmm. We'll leave it at that.
And while we have our fair share of interesting customers, I don't think any of them have ever been hammered, not to my knowledge. So,
Yeah, they may be really good at being hammered.
it's a possibility. Our cowboys are, you've heard modern country music. It's drinking and mama and girlfriends and trucks in America, guns, and sometimes rain. Um, Rain makes corn, and corn makes whiskey, and whiskey makes my lady a DMCA copy strike that carries felony time. I'm not gonna finish that song. Let's talk about that. That's ridiculous.
What?
So, hidden in the new COVID relief bill, this is not to get political in any way, it's just examining the content of the COVID relief bill, is a new law which now carries prison time for people who illegally stream copyrighted material.
Oh shit.
So, like, if you're on Twitch or a format like that, or you have, something in the background of your YouTube video, YouTube already has their broken copyright claim system.
Yeah.
But let's say you're like live streaming on YouTube, right? And you have some copyrighted content that comes in the background, like they're playing music or whatever. If they receive a strike on that, it can potentially carry prison time.
Oh shit.
And that's in the same bill that they spent half a year everybody complaining about so they could give people without jobs $600.
Yeah. Um. Also on the COVID line, just informed when I got home by my father that up in the east, do you know who's getting the first batch of vaccines?
I know a lot of politicians were.
Uh, well, in some states, they're testing out the vaccine on the prisoners. And so that has a whole bag of mixed emotions in it, mainly bad mixed emotions. Like somewhere between like rape.
Prison vaccine deliverable by Shank. God.
Start stabbing people with the vaccine. Like, you're welcome, and just
The prisoners weren't complying with our order to take the vaccine, so we've hidden them in all the plastic toothbrushes in the prison. Eventually, everybody will receive the vaccine. Oh my God.
beyond scared straight.
That's wild. That's wild too. That was a show that existed.
Dude, there's like other shows on. There's this one show. Janari was telling me about it. Janari's a good friend of mine, somebody that I consider like my little brother. He said that it was on Netflix. I'm sure people will know what I'm talking about. But like there was this show where people pretended to be prisoners, and it was like almost like a reality TV show. But they had to take them out because they started stepping on shoes because they didn't know how the prison system worked. And they started figuring out that they were part of a reality TV show. And thus, I think one of them got jumped or stabbed or some shit like that. Like they had to be hospitalized. I don't think they died. But like that was like, I'm assuming they were only going to do one season of it now. Because
If that.
yeah, no, like I think it's done. But yeah, that was a thing. Like Beyond Scared Straight, understandable. It's for the youth.
I mean, I was going to talk about the ineffectiveness of Scared Straight. Specifically, the one instance I have is anecdotal. But I watched, there's a comedian, his name is Dwayne Perkins. Super funny gay black dude. And he has this bit where he talks about his parents tried to put him through the Scared Straight program. And his dad specifically thought it was like a prison program where they would scare you straight.
He's gay. Got it.
I'm not going to steal his bit or anything, but he talks about how maybe putting a young gay black man in front of a bunch of like tough ass prisoners did not help his sexuality whatsoever. I'm not going to steal his bit, so definitely go watch that. Dwayne Perkins.
Do you know what?
Done by Scared Straight. Fucking so funny.
Dwayne Perkins, and then just look up Scared Straight.
Yeah, so funny. So funny. I've been on a huge stand-up kick recently. I love stand-up as it is already. But especially recently being stuck at home, I've had plenty of time to find all sorts of comedians and whatnot. Dulce Sloan has been one of my favorites. She's a correspondent on The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. Yeah. She's hilarious. I've been watching a lot of Bert Kreischer stuff. He's hilarious. Tom Segura, hilarious. Anything that Dave Chappelle's ever come out with, ever, love it. Don't watch his show on Comedy Central, not because I don't like him, but because they don't pay him.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like,
well, definitely watch that. That's one of his most recent. It's not necessarily a special, just I don't know what you describe it as, a show that he did. Unforgiven, I believe, is the name of the show. Definitely, it's on YouTube. Go find that.
Chappelle Show, though. Although, yes, it's stupid as hell that he does not get paid for it. It's damn funny.
It is, but I think part of the reason too that he left the show, at least like earlier seasons, you know, he had a lot of creative say, and then I think without, you know, taking too much from him and what he has to say about it, don't take my word for it. Go watch his stuff, definitely, especially Unforgiven, where he talks about it more in depth. But I think the main issue that he had with the show is that it was no longer his jokes that were funny. It was the fact that his jokes were about him and about Black people, and that was the butt of the joke. It was no longer like a constructive comedy. I don't even know if constructive is the right word for it. It was very reminiscent of like, I don't know, like your slapstick 80s movies. Is ha ha Black. That's the joke. And why he went to South Africa, which is, again, that move is one of the.
Someone else in Africa. I didn't know it was South Africa. I thought he lived like with one of the tribes or something like that.
No, South Africa. It is a. I want that to go down. Not that I am any sort of expert on what would qualify as any player or baller moves. Look at me. But
I'm wearing a bomber.
Yeah, but for what it's worth, I think from my personal experience, that's one of the most baller moves, period. Mm-hmm. Like the fact that you would leave the game at the top of the game because you're like, I don't like it anymore. And you would leave all of that money. I think he had like a $60 million deal that he left behind.
He said, fuck you, I'm moving to Africa.
Yeah, and he just left. He said, I'm out of here. I'm done with it. Y'all don't treat me the way I want to be treated. I'm done with this shit.
And then he came back and is still as big as he left, if not bigger than when he left.
I would argue bigger. I really would. And apparently his partnership with Netflix is really beneficial both ways. I know it's beneficial for Netflix, and then on his Unforgiven show, he talked about how much he loves Netflix as somebody who's working for them or working with them. So Netflix, whoever that is, they're playing their cards right. Don't piss off Dave Chappelle.
That's just
don't piss off Dave Chappelle.
I mean, speaking of like baller moves, this is an old one, and it's one of my favorite, like probably my favorite baller move of all time by a celebrity. When Floyd Mayweather was at the peak of his career, he was Floyd Money Mayweather. Nobody had beaten him. 50 Cent came out and made, I think it was like at that point, a YouTube video. And he uploaded it. He said, I'll give $1 million. I'll give $1 million to Floyd Mayweather if he can read me a Dr. Seuss book.
Don't.
And he's going on and on. And I thought that was the funniest, hardest shit. Like Floyd Mayweather, my man knew how to box. He's got some of the fastest hands I've ever seen in boxing. And he's 51 and 0. 51 and 0. At the time, I think he was like 47 and 0. And my man 50 Cent said, fuck you, read me green eggs and ham. For I think he said for $2 million, it would be green eggs and ham. Like $1 million to Mayweather, and then another $1 million to the charity of Mayweather's choice.
Something like that. I do remember that. Yeah. For what it's worth, Floyd, fast hands. Obviously, nobody can argue. He's an incredibly talented fighter with a lot of natural talent, and that compounded with practiced skill. I don't follow UFC or MMA very closely at all, but even I know that. Even I know that. And that being said, he's since been shot. There are no hands that are faster than a gun. So obviously he doesn't care.
Dude, did you know there's a video game about 50 Cent? It's an action video game about 50 Cent.
What is it?
It's like GTA. It's basically like GTA. But you play as 50 Cent.
A third-person shooter for 50 Cent?
Yes. Hold on.
I'm gonna need some court-presented documents to back this up. That's insane.
50 Cent video game. There it is. It's called Bulletproof. 50 Cent Bulletproof. It's got a 6.5 out of 10 out on IGN.
Honestly, that's kind of impressive.
November 17th, 2005. The composer for it was Shamoney XL.
All right.
Yeah. It won an award for best song in a game. I don't know what song it was, but yeah. Oh, 50 Cent Bulletproof. I look it up real quick. It's like you said. Yeah, no, it's third person.
A third-person shooter. Okay.
Third person shooter where you play. It looks, it came out.
You play as 50 Cent.
Yeah, you play as 50 Cent, and you just kill a bunch of I think you go and kill Taliban or some shit.
All right, word. I respect the hustle, 50 Cent. Go kill him.
Yeah, no, and it looks like Army of Two. Remember that game Army of Two?
No.
Game. There's actually a really good fan film out there of it, but it's like that same graphics and looks like the same movement. It looks like they just put 50 Cent skin on Army. You see it now?
I just pulled up videos of gameplay to see, and the thumbnail of the first video, it shows on the top left corner health, armor, and then weapon chosen, and it just says GAT.
You got the GAT, the thing, and the 9.
Oh my god. GAT.
Hey, what you using? Oh, I'm shooting the GAT. Yeah, but what kind of gun?
What caliber? The bigger one? Oh man, we working with a GAT or a chopper or what? Oh, that's another one. I keep on looking at my YouTube feed is just a whole fuck ton of stand up now. Jabuki Young White, he's funny too. I think he's got a decent Twitter presence if I remember correctly.
I don't know.
I'm speaking as someone who's very new to Twitter, like a week new, like very, very new. I went on some semi-spiritual journey, like my sophomore year of high school, and was like, man, fuck this shit. I hate social media. I just deleted everything. And then like a year ago, I got Snapchat back because that's not really social media, let's be honest, unless you have like a huge following of people already. It's not social media. You're just talking to people.
A bit more of social media than us, I guess, zillennials. I don't know what we are at this point because some sites say this, some sites say that, but
I think we qualify as like the very early end of Gen Z, but even within our generation, there's such a like crazy divide between even just like people who are graduating high school now and us.
Yeah, who are about to graduate college.
Even that like 4 year gap right there is a lot. Because there's some shit I've seen. I don't have a TikTok. I know Tristan does. I don't. He sends me shit sometimes, but like I'll see compilations pop up on YouTube, and there's like trends and stuff that'll be on there, and I only see like a small glimpse of it. What the fuck? But then like I don't know. Like, is this what it feels like to like what people talk about when they turn 30? Like, oh man, I feel old. Bro, I'm 22. Why do I feel this way already?
You know, at work today, there was this girl I was working with, and uh, she like we were going through the usual like get to know people questions while you're at work of like you start off like what time are you off kind of thing, and then I asked her if she went to school and she said actually I just graduated, and like she looked kind of young but like definitely within like our age, so I was like I think she means college, but it could be high school because I work at a grocery store. I work at a lot of like with a lot of high schoolers too. And so we started talking, and I was like, yeah, I go to college. I'm gonna graduate this next year. And she's like, oh, cool. She's like, yeah, no, I'm an old woman. And I was like, how old are you? And she's like, I'm 23. I was like, don't say that shit. I was like, girl, I'm 22, dog. Like, don't.
You have no room to talk. I went and visited you at where you're at your apartment at school, and one of the people that he introduced me to thought I was 28. 28.
Who thought you were 28?
Cynthia.
Really?
Yeah, she was like, I thought you were like 28 or something.
Oh, shit.
Off, no. That's like 6 years away. That's more than a quarter of my life.
I should have at least something figured out by then.
28 is when that was how old my dad was when they had me. I am not 28. No.
She said, you look ready to childbear.
These are not childbearing hips. Tristan, I'm not ready. I am not ready. I have a dump truck, but I don't have the width necessary to give birth.
Dude,
I never saw myself as somebody like, I've always wanted to look older, and now that I'm here, I was offended. Like I took it really personally.
Oh, dude, I didn't tell even my girlfriend this. My ass was slapped today by a random customer. That was weird because like okay, so I went and I was bending over to go and get. It was definitely sexual assault, like 100%. I went and I grabbed some bags from underneath the thing, and so I bent over, right? And I grabbed bags, and like as I was bent over, I thought somebody had like a bag and it hit me, but like I could feel the fingers, like you know when you're getting your ass slapped kind of thing. And I stood up like a fucking prairie dog, and I looked around, but it was really crowded, and I couldn't tell who the fuck slapped me. And the worst part was there was a bunch of like 40 and 50-year-old people around me. So I was like, oh my God, I didn't do that pay me.
Sexual assault is no joke. However, there is something about the image of a sexually assaulted meerkat that just...
No, dude, it was so weird because I was going in between baggers and stuff and being like, hey, watch out, I'm gonna put some bags on for you. And so there was this girl next to me, and I stood straight up and I looked at her. I was like, did you just slap my ass? And she's like, what? I was like, I think someone just slapped my ass. And she started kind of laughing. She's like, what? And I was like, yeah, and like I like slapped it myself. I was like, no, definitely somebody slapped my ass. And my manager comes up, she's like, did you just slap your butt? And I was like, yeah, but it's because somebody else did. And you know what? Going on a little soapbox here, just a tiny one.
All right.
Nobody took me seriously. Everybody was like, if I was a girl, I'd be like, oh my God, let's go find him. But for me, they're like, that's stupid, bro. Like, I was like, hey, man, I didn't say you could slap my ass like that. I have a girlfriend.
I've had that happen to me in public, and like nobody did a thing. I was at the mall and I was walking back to like go out to my car after we had eaten at like the cafeteria in the mall. And this girl who like had to have been my age or roundabouts, so somewhere in there,
Your age then or your age now?
like my age then. So like similar age. Doesn't make it any better. It's just a context. Slapped the fuck out of my cheeks. Like full wind up. And I turned around and made direct eye contact with her. And she was with like an entire group of people. I say entire group, it had to have been like 6 or 7 of them. And she just laughed at me. I was like, what?
Like,
I've never met you before in my life.
Slap Ass Friday was a thing when we were in like 7th and 8th grade. I'm 22 years old. That's sexual assault.
There's like an understanding, right? There's an understanding of like when that's appropriate, especially among dudes. And from what I understand, among women too, in like a locker room context.
Yeah.
Like I know locker room talk that doesn't excuse anything, but like guys being dudes in a locker room, you're gonna get towel whipped in the ass, and it's funny because it's in a locker room, and you all understand that like that's the context.
Or like with the boys, and when your boy slaps your ass, and you're like, "Damn," kind of thing. Like that's the boys.
Right, he slaps and he like laps on like fingers and the crack a little bit, but you don't talk about it. But
you don't talk about how much you liked it, but like you just keep going.
yeah, anyways, you were saying?
No, and even one of my coworkers, the one that I was talking to about how she said that she was old and she ended up being like 23 or some shit.
Yeah.
I told her about it, and she was like, she's like, oh, do you think it was like, one of the managers, because like the managers are around our age as well, and I'm cool with all of them or whatever, and most of them are dudes, and I was like, I mean, if it was, I was like, I'm cool enough with them to where I'd be like, at least just admit it, and then we can just joke about it, kind of thing. I was like, I don't care,
Right.
But it was definitely a customer, and like that was like the creepiest part, and like I don't know, it was just weird, dude, and like again, like it kind of hurt with the lack of sympathy that I got. I was like, hey, like I should have just got touched, like without my permission. I was like, if I was a girl, things would be going off, bro.
I think that's something like I got to work on personally too, because like I definitely understand where you're coming from, and I understand like the frustration that you have because I've had it. But like even I feel like I'm rooting against myself because I'm rooting for the wrong team. I'm not wanting sexual assaulters to succeed, but like if I hear that it happens to a dude, it just carries less significance in my head, and like that's on me. I'm a dude, and it's happened to me. And even then, I was like, maybe I'm just overthinking. I don't know. I could be overreacting.
Into that almost like victim mentality, but like I forget what it's called. I'm sure you can tell me, but like that mentality of like, oh, I was in the wrong. Like, oh, that's my bad. Like that's what I felt about it. I was like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have like stuck my ass out like that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a proper psychological term for it, but I'm no proper psychologist.
Because like my girlfriend does it to me all the time, and like that's fine because she's my girlfriend, and like the boys will do it to me, but like also the boys know like I'll strike back, but usually I slap you in your face, not your ass.
Maybe I like.
I like both.
The 1-2 combo. That's what every man really wants. Wants to be slapped across the face and the ass at the same time.
It's just at this just.
Yeah, face down, ass up, left hand ass, right hand face. Just
a short man, dude. I mean, like my wingspan. I'm 6'2", or like 6'2", 6. Did I tell you that I think I grew?
You told me about growing pains in your back, which is hella weird. I've only ever had them in my legs.
No. So have you seen the scars on my back? They're stretch marks.
I have stretch marks on my ass as well. They're horizontal, so you know it's from vertical growth, not from like ass growth.
Yeah, no, mine are on like my lower back. And so I don't know if I have a new one or not, but like I'm taller than my dad. My dad's 6'2", and that was weird because my mom was like, "You look taller." I was like, "I'm not taller." And I stood up right next to my dad, and my dad's eyes were like below mine. I was like, "Ooh, don't like that."
No.
I don't know. For me, like I respect the shit out of my dad, so like being taller
Right.
than him feels like dishonorable.
I'm sorry, Father. I have sinned.
Sorry, father.
Yeah, I also respect my father. Um,
Good old
Fortunate enough to have a good one,
yeah.
and he'll always be taller than me. We thought at one point I might outgrow him, but I'm just not going to get there. I'm 6 foot flat. I have been since like basically when I graduated high school. I ain't growing.
I've been informed by Addie, my girlfriend. The word that we were looking for was victim blaming.
Victim blaming, even if it's like
She thinks.
self blaming.
Yeah. So
I
you
mean, I
can,
guess that it would still apply. You are
yeah,
the
if
victim
you're victim
too.
blaming and you're the victim, then you're blaming yourself.
All right. Thank you for the update. Outside our third party source.
Hold on. She says she's not sure, but she thinks that's what it is. But don't quote her. She's a psych major, also.
Oh, that I mean that's more than I've got, so I'll take it. Victim blaming. That's what it is. That's it. That's a professional diagnosis. You heard it here, folks. If you slap your ass, if somebody slaps your ass and you feel guilty about it, you're victim blaming.
Don't slap your ass so you don't get victim blamed.
It's like the shittiest PSA. Don't slap your ass.
We can do it.
One of those fucking like those '80s animations, where just like right across the screen, like the fucking "Did you know that?" or a Reading Rainbow. Reading Rainbow. Then fucking roll in the ZeniMax TVs, massive ones on the cart.
Shit, we still had that like we had 80s technology while I was still in like middle school.
I don't remember if we had the ZeniMax TVs in middle school.
I know for sure we had them in elementary. I think in middle school is when we started getting smart boards.
Well, smartboards, I remembered that. I want to say that was like sixth, seventh grade. I remember my science teacher at the time, sixth grade, Miss Franks, had one in her classroom. Giselle Frank. That was the first time I had ever heard a teacher directly reference sex, not in like accordance with curriculum. Like she made a joke about being born in Germany but made in France. And we're a bunch of sixth graders, so like it just didn't click. And then once one kid made that sound that's like very specific to like a sixth grader hearing something sexual, like, ooh, we all like clicked and we're like, oh my god!
What was she at least married?
Was she married when she was talking about sex?
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, Miss Franks was married to the best of my knowledge. I was fortunate enough to have a lot of cool science
That would be
teachers.
Mrs. Frank.
Oh,
He said Miss Franks. It'd be Mrs. Franks. So she's married.
Mrs. Franks. I was fortunate enough to have a lot of cool science teachers in middle school. Mr. Arundel was another one. He walked around with a golf club as like a cane.
Oh, that's cool.
Even though he was like, he didn't need it whatsoever. It was just like there.
Oh,
It was just part of his general persona. Was
that's
like,
stiff as hell.
yeah, he's the golf club dude. And he would jokingly like wrap students' desks with the golf club.
Jesus.
And he put that golf club through a student's desk one time by accident. Like he wrapped it too hard and just went like straight through it. He's like, I am so sorry. A very respectable man.
No,
Shout out Mr. Arundel.
I don't know. I mean, like my teachers were all cool. Like science teachers were pretty dope. Let's see, I had Mrs. Gaines. Mrs. Gaines was cool. We had this one dude named Mr. Woods. Mr. Woods was he's an ex-sailor and he had the teeth to show it.
Scurvy? What do you have?
Dude, they were like yellow, bro. Like,
Is that a sailor thing?
what?
That just got yellow teeth.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like a pirate, but like he looked like a pirate, but as if he was like a science, like a well-groomed science teacher.
But
No, he wasn't Dan Patrick. Um, but like, oh, Dan Crenshaw. Sorry, Dan Patrick.
Patrick.
Dan Patrick. Isn't he like the attorney governor of Texas?
Yeah, I want to say that that sounds right.
Yeah, I meant Dan Crenshaw. I have full respect for Dan Crenshaw because he served the nation, but like,
Right.
you know,
You know he's got to have that eye patch on purpose. Like there are like false eyes and other ways to do it, but this man was like,
because eye patch is hard as fuck.
I mean, it is, but like I feel like even within the context of hardness, part of it goes away because you know they willingly chose it. Like they were sitting there in the office, and the doctor's like, "Okay, so because we've had to remove your eye, we've got a couple options here for you. This is what you're going to be looking at." Anywho, so we've got false eyes here. You can keep same color, different color if you'd like. There's going to be a couple other options as well, like a blacked out lens on like a glass or something. And meanwhile, Mr. Crenshaw is there like, no. He's like, and what was your option, sir? He said, eye patch. He said,
like a pirate.
but like a pirate, sir? Yes. Like, okay, go you. Stereotypical movie villain, Mr. Pirate Man. Why do you think it was such a common occurrence? Well, no, we just talked about that earlier. Scurvy. I feel like that would take eyes, right? Is it scurvy that takes eyes?
Scurvy can be all I know about scurvy is that you can drink lemons or some shit and you'd be
No,
out.
I read about this. It's not because there were a bunch of eye injuries with pirates. It's so that when they were above deck, they'd have darkness over one eye. So when they went below deck, one eye was already adjusted to the darkness. So they'd flip up the eye patch and be able to see.
Yeah, it's actually really cool. I mean, like pirates, I feel like no, I mean you have to be kind of smart. Like you're conniving if you're a pirate.
Right. Sales smarts. Not street smarts, sales smarts.
Yeah, you can't read, but you can read the waves.
Yeah, like a Floyd Mayweather smart.
I don't I don't know why I have an issue with calling him smart. Like,
That man is a multimillionaire by and far. If you make that much money, there's got to be a little bit of intelligence involved.
I mean, he's fight intelligent. Like
Right, exactly, a Floyd Mayweather kind of smart.
yeah, I guess. Because like
Proficient in his craft.
not a good. I mean, he's a good fighter in the way that he knows how to play the game. He's like that person at school that like didn't take any extracurriculars or anything like that because they played the GPA game. That's how Mayweather fights. Mayweather knows what hits he can hit and like he'll dodge as much as he can dodge. He's not like Tyson or Ali where they were all power and they were just fighters.
Okay, for Muhammad being all power, that man, I mean, there's a reason we attribute, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, because that man could move.
Yeah, even into his like 40s whenever he was fighting.
That was one of my favorite clips to this day. It's the classic one of him, and he's just dodging right, left, and he's playing, goofing around because that's what it was. He was so good, it was just a game.
Have you seen Ali? It's the movie with Will Smith in it. It came out like in the 2000s.
I've not, no, not that I remember.
First off, he embodies Ali really well. Secondly, my man got huge for that part. Like he was big.
Will Smith?
Yeah, Will Smith got to like, I think he was like, I mean, he was Ali's weight, so like about 210, 220 at least.
Okay, put heavyweight, yeah. Let me see. Do a little research here real quick.
Yeah, no, like that movie was, I watched it like 3 or 4 years ago. And like, that's the one that kind of convinced me like, oh, Will Smith is a really good actor. It's just that sometimes he gets really cheesy parts. Um, Another good Will Smith movie, Pursuit of Happiness. Pursuit of Happiness, that's like my cry movie. That's the one movie that I'll go to if I want to cry. I don't like crying, so I usually don't watch it. But if I want to, I'll go to Pursuit of Happiness because that is a sad movie, but ends up being happy, hence the name. But like, oh my gosh, he acted the shit out of that movie. But after a while, I kind of do get tired of Will Smith because it just ends up being Will Smith being Will Smith. Like his character revolves around him, everything him revolving around a character.
Yeah, so this source I think has worded it incorrectly, but it backs up what you were saying. So he was pushing about 210 for the film, so he would have Ollie's body type. But the article that I'm looking at says, "Did you know the actor gained nearly 200 pounds for his role?"
My man,
Well, I don't,
it was 10 pounds.
I don't know that. I don't think that's what he did. Can you imagine if Will Smith was 200 pounds heavier than he normally is?
My man weighs 360.
Will Smith would look like Rick Ross. That's not. That's not.
Not Rick.
I eat pears and shit. Shout out to all the pears. Oh man, I think that was Rick Ross.
I don't know. I don't. You know me. I don't really follow the rap game. But I'll take your word for it. That sounds like Rick Ross. If I ever heard Rick Ross before.
No, Rick Ross. I'm trying to think of songs that Rick Ross is known.
Like, I know who Rick Ross is. I know how he looks. Like I imagine in my head. I just can't name any songs by him. Like, I would
like
say
features that he has more than like actual Rick Ross songs.
he was like the first 21 Savage. Can you name me a 21 Savage song?
I'm sure there's like 21 Savage stands that are out there right now. Like, give me an opportunity.
Because
I
all the time it's like featuring 21 Savage.
I don't know. Every time I think about 21 Savage now, all I think about are all the UK memes whenever he got like did he get deported.
Yeah, he got deported. That's what it was.
Because he was born or from the UK.
Yeah.
They were replacing all of his lyrics with like the crumpets and shit like that.
This day. Yeah, no, like because he was at ACL. 21 Savage was at ACL this past year, or I guess the year prior, 2019. He was at ACL. And so I was walking over from Billie Eilish. I was walking from her stage across the park to Gambino. And like halfway there, where the next day Duckworth would perform, 21 Savage was performing. And so I was like, all right, bet. I'll just stand by for a few songs and then I'll go find my spot for Gambino. First off, regret it because, I was close-ish to Gambino. Like I was definitely within 100 yards of Gambino at some point. Okay. But I could have been closer if I didn't stop for 21 Savage. And 21 Savage, I was like, I know at least like one of his songs. Unless he played like some album I've never heard before, I didn't know any of his songs. And I could tell that about like 30% of the people nearby didn't know the songs either.
Yeah, I feel like he's one of those rare ones that his name garners more like sort of following or popularity than any of his individual songs or artistry. I'm probably pissing hella people off by saying that, but
I mean, I respect the game. I mean, like assumingly he's a good rapper because I mean, if he's featured in a lot of things, that means he has to be good at what he does. But like, I just can't name a song, and I couldn't like rap along to a song.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. 21 Savage.
Yeah, right.
None of those like ring a bell off the top.
Like, what's his top song on Spotify?
On Spotify, as far as like popularity goes, like right now popular is running off of Savage Mode 2. But as far as like streams, bank account has like 769 million streams.
I don't know. Like, Gambino, I knew almost every single song at Gambino. And like I wasn't a big
Listening, I promise. I'm gonna listen to this real quick too. I'm not trying to get in trouble.
okay, go ahead. But yeah, no, Gambino, I knew his songs. I didn't like I'm not like a huge like diehard Gambino fan. He's one of my favorite lyricists. But at least I knew his songs.
I didn't. I don't know bank account.
Shit, neither do I.
769 or 65 or whatever million straight.
I was not one of them.
I didn't know it. That's not to say it's bad. I only listened to like 10 seconds of it. So
How was it?
it was all right. I don't know that I would stream it 769 million times, but hey,
teach their own.
hey, somebody did. So
Because I mean, like, ACL was so much fun. It was a lot of fun. I was supposed to go. I was supposed to go Friday through Sunday, but I was driving. I was driving to Austin on Friday, and Friday was Guns N' Roses, and I really wanted to see them because they're Guns N' Roses. And I was going to get there right in time for it. Or actually, I was going to be early, and I was like, you know what? I have time to stop in San Marcos and go see Janari. And so I was there, and I was hanging out, and I was like, okay, I have like a good amount of time because I think I just skipped classes that day, honestly. So I was like, I have like plenty of time. I'll be fine. There was a girl that I was talking to there, and I ended up staying rather than going to Guns N' Roses. And that was probably really sweet girl. She's really cool. But that was probably a big mistake because I missed GNR. I will probably never be able to see Guns N' Roses in real life.
I don't want to put any disrespect on this girl because, like you said, apparently she's very sweet. But I think there's something so funny that's like after the fact, just being like, "Your pussy was not worth Guns N' Roses."
Yeah, no, but the next day I woke up, drove up to Austin, and that was like the big day. So I went over, I stayed at my buddy Zarif's place, and he goes to UT, so he lives like downtown. But we still have to get like, I guess Austin was a lot bigger than I thought it was. Being a Houston guy, I think Austin's like the size of a pebble. But it's still a city. Like like I kind of forget that. And so I was like, oh, it's like walking distance. He's like, Tristan, it's like an hour and a half walk across the city. And I was like, oh, well, I guess we'll take an Uber. And so we took an Uber all the way over there. Oh shit, this wasn't the day that I called you about. What was our boy's name? The one that like you described him perfectly on the phone.
Oh, Timothy. No. My man was playing classical music in the background. I was like, I bet this dude looks like a semi-balding, plain, default ass, wearing glasses looking motherfucker. Probably has like a polo shirt on or something.
Dude, when I tell you, so I was walking. So ACL has like a certain radius to it where you can't call an Uber. So I had to walk like a mile and a half, like over the river and through the woods kind of thing. But no, like literally over the river. And I was like in like the industrial part of Austin when I finally was able to call an Uber. And so I called an Uber, and the dude's name was Timothy. I was on the phone with Sam at this point, because I was lonely, I was walking. And I was like, oh bro, my boy Timothy's coming through. And I started gooning on him myself, but I never gave him like any details of like who Timothy looked like or like what Timothy looked like. And Sam got it down to the color of his fucking shirt. He's wearing dark green polo. My man's like, he looks middle-aged, but he's probably like 26. and like he's just this nerdy white kid that probably used to get like picked on.
I had no business doing that man that dirty.
And when I tell you, I almost pissed myself laughing because the picture that I was looking, because Uber gives you a little like, icon, little profile look at the dude, right? Because, you want to know who's picking you up. He described, I was like, Sam, are you looking at my phone? Like, where the fuck are you? Sam was in Dallas, dude. Like, he was not near me. And then I got in the car and I'm like trying to stifle a laugh, right? Like, I'm in there crying. And like he's like trying to make small talk, but I was like, just drive, dude. Like, just go.
I forgot that that's what it was.
And I'm sitting in the car, and I was like, Sam, because I muted myself. I was like, I texted him, I was like, Sam, guess what fucking music he's playing? He's like, I'm guessing classical music, and he's got neon lights within the car. Like he's got like the glow lights in the car. Bro, I almost pissed myself inside of Timothy's car, dude. Like straight up inside his fucking like 97 Subaru, almost pissed myself.
Not to fork over the $150 cleaning fee for Uber.
Because I mean, it was going with the music. It was listening to like Tchaikovsky or some shit, dude. Like it was straight up.
I forgot that I had called it before he even pulled up. It was off of Name Alone. I thought I heard the classical music first, and then I was like, oh, this man looks like blank.
No.
No, it was on Name Alone.
Yeah, because I was still waiting. Like I know exactly where I was at because I drove past it the other day whenever I went to go visit Janari at the studio. And it was just, I remember I sat like, because we went to go get, whenever I was with Janari, this was like years later, or I guess this year, it was back in like November or some shit. But I went to go visit Janari, and Janari, I think his name, I want to give a quick shout out. I want to say his name is Nari, for like his, he's a sound engineer, he's an audio engineer. He makes beats. But he works at a studio. It's called Night Owl Studio down in Austin. And he works there as a sound engineer. And so shout out to Janari. Hit him up for beats. He makes some really good shit. Anyways, I was out there. We were staying there pretty late. One of his buddies, there's another studio that they have that's like more like a film studio, which we will be in contact with them at some point. But they like one of his buddies that helps run the place invited us over, and so we were over there, and they were smoking everything, playing Madden and shit, and like it was a big ass room. It was a really good looking room. But everybody was smoking, so we were like Whataburger. And so since I was the only sober one, I drove Janari and I to Whataburger, and we got lost at some point because Janari was high and I didn't know where I was at. And
Did you still have a Rosa at the time?
No, I had my Subaru at this point.
Okay. All right, it's November. Duh.
Yeah. And so I was driving, we got lost, and I pulled up right where fucking Timothy pulled up on me. Right where my boy pulled up on me.
All roads lead home. Shit. Man. Well, I think it's a good point to sort of wrap up with our first preliminary run. Our boy Timothy provided just that last little bit of something.
That's all we needed.
Our boy Timothy, you plain ass fool.
You plain bitch. Yeah, so that was, I mean, we could call this just episode 0, maybe.
Yeah, episode 0, episode 0.5, the pilot.
So yeah, no, we're Duck Boys. Basically, what we want to do. I know that if you're listening for this long, first off, bravo, thank you. But basically, what we want to do is tell stories. We tell stories about things that we do in our own lives, but like we also like meeting people. So we tell stories about other people. Usually we're not. I mean, usually we are clowning on people, but we intend to do different things with this. Going down the line, as you can tell, We have a lot of different hobbies, but we have a lot of similar hobbies, and we intend to explore them for both our knowledge and for your knowledge as the listener slash viewer.
And we're open to suggestions as well. That's how we grow. It's how we get better.
Let us know what you liked, what you disliked, what you absolutely hated.
If you actually made it this far, do me a favor. Reach out to Tristan or I independently and just text us the word screwball. That's how I know that you actually.
There you go. Like right now, text screwball. You can spell it either way, like actual screwball, like, or with a K.
But that's how I'll know.
Yeah, because you gotta remember they might not see you; they might be listening to you.
Right. Yeah. Screwball. SKREWBALL.
Or however screwball is spelled in your language of choice.
Yeah, that too. Reach out to us in your language and give us the translation of screwball. I want to hear screwball in Swahili.
On that note, thank you guys for listening. I hope we haven't bored you too much. And y'all have a beautiful life until we meet again.
All right, lover boys. All quack, no whack.
Yeehaw.